So James stirred up the Discord this week. James had the audacity to ask the Discord, hey, serious question. Is WWE dying? They lost 60% of their Netflix audience in 5 weeks. Now, when James first posted this, I thought he was trolling. I thought this was a joke. I thought he was just trying to get a reaction on people. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I'm not sure. But when you look at the actual numbers from the debut of Monday Night Raw on Netflix, this is a 100% accurate statement. We've lost about 60% of that audience. WWE is dying. It's time to overreact. We should all jump off the ship. But let's be more specific. Let's be more realistic when we talk about these numbers. WWE is not dying. The casual fan base that jumped over to see The Rock, that jumped over to see John Cena, sure, they're dying off. But the WWE is not dying off. The fringe fan base, the ones I'm talking about, the ones that are only there to see The Rock, they're only there to see John Cena, they may be leaving. They may be going back to whatever other Netflix show they're watching on Monday nights. But the WWE as a company, nah, homie, we're doing just fine. We are right where we want to be. No disrespect to you, James, because I understand it's a tough pill to swallow. Because if AEW ever lost 60% of its viewership, that would mean that there's like 6 people watching a Collision. So I understand that this is a little bit of a bitter pill to swallow. But real OG casual wrestling fans, we never expected this kind of uptick to stick around. We all know WWE is cooking right now, and it'll level off, and it'll all kind of, wrestling's cyclical. But right now, we are not nervous, because what we know as casual wrestling fans, we know there are four levels of wrestling fans. Okay, and let me break those down for you guys. Number one, there's the sicko. This is the sicko who is mad when I say I don't watch New Japan Pro Wrestling, or I don't know every little thing about AEW wrestling, and they tell me, go look it up, go do your research. You should eat, breathe, live, and shit pro wrestling and know everything. Don't ask any questions. You should know everything. That's a sicko. Those exist, okay? Then you have the group that I spend most of my time battling with, and that's the IWC. And this is the group sometimes that tries to rope in the informed casual fan. But this is the group of hipsters who live in a delusional world where they watch AEW, and they will tell you that AEW competes with WWE on a weekly basis. They'll tell you they're a competitor, and that is the IWC, and they live in a state of delusion. Now, there is the informed casual wrestling fan, and this is where most of our community sits. We know enough to talk our shit, but we don't breathe and live pro wrestling, and we aren't afraid to say what we don't know. We are not afraid to speak up and say we don't know. We don't know who that guy is. We don't know why AEW does what they do. We don't understand it, nor are we searching for a bigger understanding. That's the informed casual. Then on the very outside of this thing, you have what I call the basic wrestling bro. Now, the basic wrestling bro, these are the fans that make up that 60% increase that you saw when Monday Night Raw debuted on Netflix. Anytime a Hulk Hogan, a Dwayne The Rock Johnson, a John Cena, or a Stone Cold Steve Austin come around, their ears, they kind of perk up. Anybody from the Attitude Era, really, their ears perk up. They go, I know these names, and they jump back in the pool for a couple of weeks. These guys want to watch John Cena. And when they realize John Cena is not going to be on TV week after week after week, they disperse and they go away again. You know, these are guys, we've all seen these guys. These are the guys when we go to a wrestling show as an informed casual fan and we know what's going on. These are the guys that sit behind us with their girlfriend. They have no fucking clue who anybody is. They have no clue what's going on. You hear them mention Eddie Guerrero and Stone Cold Steve Austin at least 5 times during the night. And they're just there because wrestling's in town. It's something fun to do. They have a general idea of what wrestling is, and they're going to cheer for the good guy. And there's nothing wrong with that level of fan, but that's the basic wrestling bro, and that's the group that makes up that 60%. Now, as informed casual wrestling fans, we knew these guys were going to jump off the boat. We knew that once the dust settled, once we kind of got in rhythm on Netflix, once the Royal Rumble was over, once John Cena went back into hiding, once The Rock didn't show up on a weekly basis, once Roman Reigns went back to whatever island of relevancy he hides on, we knew these fans were going to leave. These are the same guys these are the same fans that hate CM Punk because they still remember the CM Punk John Cena feuds for the 2010s. They don't have a new recollection. If you want to put it in other terms, these are the New York Yankee fans of the WWE. They just like the best team. They just like the biggest names. They're going to root for the team, but they're not going to watch on a weekly basis. They're not watching regular season games. They'll show up for WrestleMania. That's how WWE gets to the 80,000 number at WrestleMania, is because the wrestling bros all show up. But they don't watch regular season games. They don't watch Monday Night Raw. So after the big event with Netflix, we expect a decline. We expect these guys to start to fade away. And on top of that, like I said in the opening, this is one of the most notoriously hard times of wrestling to watch. This in-between as we anticipate WrestleMania, where we know nothing is going to be huge. WWE is not going to shoot a big load in the next 10 days. They're saving all of the anticipation for WrestleMania. So we're going to get a couple of things that set up stories. We're going to get a couple of things just past the time, but you're not going to get heavy, interesting storytelling right now. So reality is we're in holding for WrestleMania. Like that's where we're trying to figure out. And I suspect Triple H still has a few aces up his sleeve. We don't know everything about WrestleMania. The Rock is going to, y'all can keep telling me he's not. I still believe The Rock is showing up at WrestleMania so he can recharge his ego for another year. It's inevitable, right? He needs that juice to get him going so he can go make a bunch more bad movies for the rest of the year. The Netflix numbers, I get 60% sounds so scary, but let's check back in 2 weeks. Let's really look at it when we get into that middle of the road to WrestleMania. I guarantee you that those numbers creep back up a little bit. And the reality is, to be honest, we're just right back to where we were when we were on the USA Network. So nothing to panic about here, James. Nothing to panic about. 60% for WWE, it's just not that scary of a number because we peaked so high that we're able to recover from something like this. Let's go ahead and plug in and hear what Jim Cornette has to say.